Tonight is about remembering things, because what is forgotten isn't fought for. And the prime example of this are our cities. Despite a presidential candidacy with seemingly countless debates that began with two mayors, Rudy and, does anybody know? Dennis Kucinich, who was a mayor. That's right. A campaign that started earlier than ever before. We have yet to have a substantive conversation about urban America. This is to our peril. 80% of Americans live in metro areas of one size or another, and cities are responsible for 90% of our nation's GDP. Cities are the solution to the challenges that face us. They are the centers of innovation, the embodiment of the ways that immigration strengthens our local democracies and economies, the answer to the sprawl that's devastating our natural resources and our infrastructure. So why don't we talk about them? Sure, it's because cities are the sites of some of our most entrenched challenges. They are the intersection of race and class and geography. But I want to offer another theory. There are some in this country who told us that we didn't have to think about cities anymore because the condition of cities was a function of moral failure, not policy failure. As an example, in a conversation about New York City's poor, Heather McDonald, a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute, told a I don't think Heather's here, so it's okay, told a DMI fellow who, as with Mark, is a practitioner, a woman who had worked her way up from public assistance to running a program helping women on public assistance. Heather said to her, if the poor had the same bourgeois values as the middle class, they wouldn't be poor. This is from the same Heather McDonald whose recent publications include, these are titles, What Campus Rape Crisis? And Don't Make Gina Out to Be More Than It Is, speaking of the Jenna 6, not Jenna Bush, which is another story. This is from the same think tank that gave us Charles Murray and his bell curve theory that people of color were inherently less intelligent, that brought us tort reform and an unprecedented attack on the rights of regular people to hold corporations accountable, funded by those corporations, of course, that brought us the broken window theory, which turned into aggressive policing. In fact, I was recently at something learning about the Manhattan Institute's involvement with Newark on a re-entry program, looking at how ex-offenders re-enter into society. And it's important work, but I was thinking, what a business plan. I mean, first you advocate for locking up as many people as possible, and then you work on actually facilitating their re-entry. What gets forgotten does not get fought for. Thanks to the efforts of us and others, Senator Clinton and Senator Obama finally put up links on their campaign websites on what they would do about cities if they were president. And I was especially surprised at the delay for Senator Obama, knowing that The Wire is his favorite show, as it is many of ours in the room. DMI will bring this conversation to them if they don't bring it to us. We're in the remembering business. That's why our business plan is to tackle the issues that the right has so successfully framed, to restore the connections that they have obscured, to empower people and progressive policymakers with the tools to advance an agenda of social and economic justice. Some would rather the middle class forget that it was a progressive approach to governing that actually created the middle class in the first place, and instead would rather them believe that a policy of tax cuts and billions on an unjust war is the ticket for moving people out of poverty and into the American dream. We help them remember. Some would rather everyone forget that the civil justice system is there to protect regular people against powerful interests by distracting them with a running commentary on greedy lawyers. We help them remember. Some would rather that people who are hurting in today's economy blame their woes on immigrants, instead of remembering the trade policy that created our immigration crisis in the first place and devastated local economies throughout the world, instead of remembering the integral role that immigrants play in our economy, instead of remembering the Republicans and Democrats alike who ceded our fate to globalization. In the words that our own president might use, DMI is the rememberer. There's much reason to be optimistic this year, and although I'm a New Yorker and that doesn't come naturally to me, but we're poised to experience major changes in our politics. But unless those changes are accompanied by ideas, by new voices, not only in the White House, but in the legislative offices where only 6% of Senate staff people are people of color. Unless those changes are accompanied by a populace that's not only motivated to vote, but to understand what they are voting for, our victory will be incomplete. And that's the work of the Drum Major Institute: the ideas, the talent, the reframing, the connection. So thank you